Hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joesephyr, and you know that house that we've been talking about during my Kefka stream for Final Fantasy 14? We got it. You should come visit me sometime. Welcome to another Should You Pull video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Omnia. The first, in fact, since I made some redesigns and some alterations to this channel, so hopefully you guys can enjoy that. Today we're going to be looking at Strago and his new kit, as well as Relm and her rework in EX Plus and the event that will join them. So if that's all stuff that you guys are interested in, then stay tuned and keep on watching. Of course, while some things have changed on this channel, like the look and the content that you guys have to look forward to, then most things have still stayed the same. So of course, don't forget to check out all of the social media links in the description box below, including Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and Patreon. Twitch this week, actually tomorrow in fact, in the evening for British time, so I shall leave a link and time in the description box below. I'm actually going to invite you guys to come and join me on a stream for Dissidia Final Fantasy Omnia, where we're going to take a look at all of the banners that are going to be coming up over the next 9-10 months, up to date for JP, in preparation for the next future pulls video. So it's definitely not one you're going to want to miss out on. We're going to be talking about literally every character that's going to be released and reworked and all sorts of things between now and then, so definitely come and check that out. With Patreon, I obviously release a shout out every time I release a video, so I can give thanks to each and every person from my Patreon individually as it comes about. And today that person is going to be at Toy Project, so thank you very much for your support. It means the world to me. I'm actually working very hard on making new features such as Would You Pull to try and keep you guys proud and make sure I do the best I can to give back to those of you who want to give to this channel as well. Don't forget to check out all of the links, as you can see here, that are in the description box below for more support towards Dissidia Final Fantasy Omnia. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the content creators that are out there for this game besides myself. So first things first, I actually want to talk about Strago. Now Strago is a character that has been a massive point of contention within the community, where a lot of people feel that he's worth skipping and a lot of people feel that he's not. Now originally, I was in the camp of people that felt that he was worth skipping because I just didn't really hear that much buzz about him. I didn't really think that because he is a damage dealer at heart, his primary function is to just deal damage and a lot of it. I kind of wrote him off, and I was wrong to do so, in all honesty. Having watched some videos from other people, I've actually got a link in the description box for a video here, which is by Black Nero, you can see the thumbnail just down here, that explains exactly why Strago is as good as he is. And Strago is a character that's actually used, having done a little bit more research into him in the more recent weeks. Like, he's used in some Lufenias that are extremely challenging. Like, I've seen him used in Kieran's Lost Chapter, or Lufenia, which is one that a lot of people really aren't looking forward to. So bear that sort of thing in mind before we go into this banner. Now, Strago's, like I said, his primary function is to just deal damage, and a lot of it. So his entire shtick revolves around having a Soul of Thamasa buff, which he gains from using his skill 2, he gains from using his LD, he gains it from different places, and basically what it does is it makes it so that you dual cast literally everything that he does. This includes his LD, this includes his HP plus, which transforms into a quick cast so he gets more stuff out of it. His skill 1, which is, as you can see here, a 100% AoE HP damage attack that actually does a pretty solid amount of damage, so you're doubling up on literally everything. If you've used Arden and the fact that you get like the extra attacks after practically everything he does, you'll get a similar kind of thing, though in some ways actually better, with Strago. His C65 sets Soul of Thamasa onto him so that he can gain it for the extra 2 turns. So once you've given him all of his crystal passives and his weapon passives and everything, he usually gets it for 2 turns at a time when he uses it. So with his crystal passive extensions, basically, one of the big things that I think a lot of people will have missed when it comes to looking at Strago is that Quasar, his skill 1, the bravery hits from it ignore defense and becomes 6 hit. It becomes a 6-hit brave HP attack with 100% AoE HP damage that ignores defense. And when you're dual casting that ignoring defense is going to come in really handy when enemies in like Lufenia difficulty and things like that are going to be like pumping their stats up through the roof. And I think that ignore defense is actually something that I, possibly having looked at it the first time, may have missed. But like looking at that, it's like actually that's a thing that you can't really ignore. His skill 2 is a really interesting attack. So we'll go back to just this page here. So basically it's an instant break if the target's bravery is even. Now this sounds really awkward, and honestly was the reason I was like, I don't know about this with Strago. But quite honestly, what this is designed to do is counter enemies that gain a very, very large amount of bravery. Because when have you ever known a boss to gain bravery to like 38,001? It doesn't happen. So when they gain that amount of bravery and they're going, oh, okay, I'm going to kill you on the next turn unless you do something about this, which is where Strago comes in handy in Kieran's Lost Chapter, because it's exactly what the enemies do in that, you can just go, don't have to worry about it anymore. And obviously you're going to be gaining Soul of Thermas from it as long as you break something with it, because that's going to be able to apply, give you your dual casts and things like that. It really does put in a lot of work in terms of being able to control the field, and it does a lot of damage, especially if you have a Soul of Thermas already and he's gaining like extra attacks here, left, right and centre, and you know, 4-hit bravery, it's not that much, but the main reason that you want it is to get that instant break. Instant break, as we've seen with characters like Trey, is a very powerful thing. And then Soul of Thermas, while you've got it active, you also get Chain Spell, which is a 2-hit Brave HP attack that you do twice. This increases to a 3-hit Brave HP attack once you've got on the EX and the ingots into that as well. So let's have a look at his EX. Now Saber Soul is again triggered twice if you have Soul of Thermas, and it also grants Soul of Thermas as well. So his LD does it, his EX does it, and his skill 2 does it, and his C65 does it. So you're going to have this more often than you're not. It does give you an extra buff as well once you put ingots into it. At 0 out of 3 you gain Reclaimed Hope, which is just increased Brave Overflow and attack damage. It hits like relatively hard. It does split damage across the board, which is fine because it's basically just a guaranteed way of gaining Soul of Thermas. But once you've put 3 out of 3 ingots into it, you start with all of your buffs ready, so that's always really nice. You're also going to be getting 8-hit Brave HP out of it, which is much better, and then his HP plus also becomes significantly stronger, or his Chain Spell variant on his HP plus becomes a 3-hit Brave HP that you do twice, and it also refunds bravery after the first HP attack, so it's doing that much more damage. And it does actually put in the work, and you're not having to use his skills quite so frequently because you want to be able to save those for when you really want to put out the damage. Gravity Rod, which is his LD weapon, has a very interesting ability in that it insta-breaks as well. It insta-breaks, and it also cancels and re-breaks enemies if they don't have it, and if you've got Soul of Thermas active, then you're going to do it twice. So you're going to double break the enemy no matter what the situation is going to be. And it also does, it's another attack that does 100% AoE damage. It's another attack that gives you Soul of Thermas, because when you put the Power Stones into it, it gives you Soul of Thermas. It also makes it so that you don't consume your next ability use on the next turn, and you get 4 uses out of it. So honestly, the LD makes Strago significantly stronger. And I think, in all honesty, that a lot of people have written Strago off for the same reason as that a lot of people will probably pull for Sephiroth's burst in LD, knowing full well that Sephiroth isn't the strongest LD character out there. Sephiroth is a popular character, Strago is not. So therefore I think people are more likely to kind of gloss over Strago than they are a character like Sephiroth, because he's not a super popular character. But as is explained in the video by Black Nero that I've linked earlier, you know, there are a lot of YouTube clears out there that use Strago even as late as Kadaj Lufenia, which is very recent in JP. So I think to write Strago off would be a shame. However, I do think that because he is a strict damage dealer, we do have a lot of those available to us. So if you have characters like Trey available to you who are going to get an LD much later on that are really powerful, although obviously Strago is a magic damage dealer as well, so he has that as a slight difference to what he's doing normally as well. There's a lot going for Strago that I think a lot of people have ignored, and I wouldn't write him off entirely, but whether you choose to pull on him, having pulled for other characters like Edward or Ardyn or Noctis, etc., there's another gauntlet of really strong bursts coming in the near future, such as Lightning and Cloud, etc. There's a lot of really strong ones coming as well, so there's basically a way to take this banner is that it's a really nice one, because you can go in as much or as little as you want, because you're going to come out rewarded either way. Strago is actually very strong. So now let's talk about Relm as well, who is getting her EX realization for the first time with this banner, being one of the very last characters to get their EX realization, with the last 2 coming next week. Now, Relm is one of these characters that looks extremely complicated when you look at her skills and everything that she does, but she's actually not as complicated as you might think. So the thing with Relm is that her sketch summon has a different effect depending on which summon you've brought along with you to any particular fight, and she does different elemental damage depending on which one it is. So for example, if you're Shiva, it will do some ice damage. If you're Ifrit, it will do fire. If you take Odin, it has a half chance of breaking. All of the effects you can see just here. Now, Relm does get a rework alongside with her EX+, and basically all the rework does is make it so that all of her attacks hit a much more frequency. So the sketch summon will not only do the sketch summon attack, but then it will do a 4-hit bravery hit before the HP attack finally connects. And then sketch itself will get a lot, and both of her skills get a lot more uses as well. So sketch will get a lot more uses, as will sketch summon, which makes her much more competitive in terms of longevity. And sketch becomes a 5-hit brave HP attack. Now, the other thing with Relm is that she inflicts the sketch debuff. Now, if you've used Eldnash, you have a kind of a general sense of what this kind of thing is, where sketch will make it so that Relm can move immediately after the enemy that's been debuffed by it with a free turn, and it doesn't even like count towards your friend ticking down or anything like that. So she's actually very fun to experiment with. And then when you've used sketch, you get sketch plus on the next one, which moves her turn before the enemy goes. So she's like got both kind of Noctis's thing and Eldnash's thing at the same time. Now obviously she's not as strong, or her potencies aren't quite as powerful as say Noctis or Eldnash, but she gets a lot of free turns, and I mean a lot of them. Now Relm's EX originally was a typical kind of just brave HP attack, AoE, dealt split damage, and inflicted sketch upon it, and it gave her an HP plus. But honestly, it really wasn't anything special. Now her EX plus does change things quite substantially. So at 0 out of 3, she refunds some of the bravery that she gets back from it, so she can like keep herself safe from being broken. And then at 2 out of 3, she gets another recast increase, which is really strong because it means that she's going to be able to abuse this much more frequently, keep that sketch debuff on pretty much at all times, because it's gone from a slightly slow recast rate to a little bit slow, a little bit faster, and then it's getting faster again. So we're talking about like really competitive rates in terms of recast rate. And then with 3 out of 3, it becomes a 12-hit brave HP attack that's hit twice, so that's 24 AoE brave hits, which is a lot. And then she also gets a brave attack plus plus and HP attack plus plus, which are significantly better. So the HP plus plus, which is realistically what you're going to use more often, gives you party bravery, does a 2-hit brave HP attack, has Brave Overflow, and extends her own buff spire turn, and also it's quite quick off the mark as well. Now, the thing I want to say when it comes to Relm, because I released a video not too long ago about Lufenia characters you might already have, like Relm. Now, Relm is a character that I put on that list, and I maintain that she is a character that I put on that list. However, is she going to carry you and like keep you safe on her own throughout all of Lufenia? No, absolutely not. What she does bring along is the ability to use Sketch Summon in order for you to bring elemental damage alongside to complement other characters that you already have. So if an orb's requirement is a particular type of elemental damage, like Shiva for ice when it comes to Kurosame's event or anything like that, if you don't have the ability to get some of these characters like Kurosame, like Gao, or anything like that, or you have a backup plan. That is what I mean by like characters you might already have when it comes to Lufenia that you could use. Now, there are a lot of characters that I've said that can be usable for those things, but the idea of that video was to give people hope in that it's like, oh no, I've run out of resources, I need to save back up again. There is an early period of Lufenia where you'll be able to take certain characters with EXs alongside characters that have the bursts, have the LDs, have the damage capabilities that will help you, not carry you, but help you throughout some of those missions. And Relm is one of those characters. By just being able to take that many free turns, her potencies aren't going to last that long throughout Lufenia because she's strong, but she's not that strong. And she does have the ability to take all of these different elemental damages because of Sketch Summon. Bear in mind she only gets 8 uses of Sketch Summon, so you've got to space those out in order to make sure that you're not going to tick down the Lufenia orb too often. But if you can take her alongside another character that has that elemental damage requirement so that you're able to double up on it, then it will help you. But sometimes if you have those characters, you may not want to take Relm at all. However, because of the fact that we have the ability to exchange EX tokens, she's fantastic as a budget option, and I mean a budget option for you to be able to, like, at least try and tackle some of these missions where you wouldn't be able to normally. Relm is fantastic for what she costs. Like, for the same reason as any of the other EX-only legends, as they've been dubbed, over the past month, over the past 2 months, anything like that, they are fantastic for how little you have to put into them. Because you can not touch this banner, spend 10 EX tokens and a few weapon tokens and come away with a brand new character that is relevant to what is currently happening in the game. Is she going to last forever? No. Is she going to help you in a wide variety of situations? Yeah, if you let her. In terms of artifacts, both of these characters have very much the same thing. Relm will want her attack 108, because most characters want attack 108, and she has a C50 that helps max bravery and attack for your entire party as long as she maintains her HP. And then Strago has a C50 that raises his max bravery and his attack, and then wants attack 108 on top of it, because if you're going to be hitting with everything twice, like that EX, that LD and everything, you want those numbers to be hitting hard. And that's basically all you're going to want for these two. So now let's quickly cover the event that comes alongside Strago and Relm, and honestly this one's actually pretty mean if you don't know what you're doing, because these variants on the Kaiser Behemoth, so the ones from FF13 that stand up and pull the axe out of their back, it's a spin on those where they have a hammer instead. But the main thing about these guys is that they want to be instant broken, so whether that be through Strago and his level 2 death, or Relm if she's taking Odin with him, they're the characters that are designed to fight this. The reason for that is because these guys have auras that can really play havoc with you if you're not careful. So when they're stood up and they do a certain move, I think it's like they do a flame wave, they then get a white aura on them, which is a huge bravery gain, a massive reduction in bravery damage they take, and they also have a ridiculous amount of sap each turn. In all the videos I've seen, literally every turn, they're sapping like 18k. And the way that you get rid of that is by breaking them. So they want to be instant broken, whether it be through the abilities I mentioned earlier or other means. The other aura they have, which is when they're on all fours, is a blue aura where they absorb literally every kind of damage except for regular magic damage like Strago and Relm. So you have to be really careful what you bring along to this particular mission, because basically you have to play around these auras so that you're able to deal damage to them at all and survive the attacks that they've got. So you need to be able to break them in one way or another. So the two ways that I've thought that you could do this is you could bring along a character very much like Relm or Kefka, Relm or Strago, so that you can instant break. So Gobranth is a really good option for this, as long as you're careful when to use it. So you use his insta break attacks only when you need to, and then you just provide the debuffs, the attack downs and things like that, so you're able to take some hits during their regular attacks. And then you could bring Barsh along as well, because he's able to soak up a lot of HP damage so that he just doesn't die, and then you can break them in return so that they have a lot less bravery when they do these things. And then Edward can equally hide whilst providing a buttload of bravery to the party and auras, so that you're able to at least punch through. And then taking Brothers and a Mid-Italian, just so when you're trying to close out the fight, you're just dealing as much bravery damage as physically possible. When it comes to the Chaos Challenge, honestly, you're gonna want some way of breaking these enemies, whether it be through Relm or Strago. Kefka's EX actually has a high chance to instant break as well, so you can take him along and he'll do really well. Ashe can paralyze. Ashe isn't the strongest character in the world these days, but you need to have 3 party members in a Chaos Challenge, and then taking Relm, Emperor, and Kefka, they're all going to be fighting for debuff spots, so while it probably is possible to do it, it's going to be really awkward for you. Strago does actually play very well with Kefka or Emperor, because he doesn't take up debuff slots like they do, and he's able to still provide that instant break. So you've got plenty of options just to make sure you're able to break these enemies as and when they start bringing these nasty auras up, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult. So now we come to the big question of the banner. Should you pull on Strago and Relm's EX? Now, my mind has actually changed on this banner quite a lot, having looked around at what other people have said and having done a lot more research, spoken to other JP players, sort of getting a better feel for what Strago is all about. And honestly, I am more inclined to try and throw some tickets at this banner. Purely because I think that while Strago is a damage dealer, he's just a damage dealer. having seen the kind of things he can put out where he's dealing like 200,000 damage a turn with his skill 1, as long as he's like dual casting it and you have a good battery, and his EX triggering twice, his LD with the double break and things like that. There's a lot of fun to be had with Strago, and I think that there are places where that instant break mechanic is going to come in really handy. So you're not going to have Strago, obviously. Relm, a lot of people, myself included, don't have. I don't actually have Ashe either, and a lot of people didn't pull for Ashe because she is only okay when it comes to EXs. So honestly, this is a pretty safe banner for you to pull on if you're worried about getting dupes, because the chances are a lot of them you're probably not going to have already. If you've already got Relm, then maybe I'd think about it and like not go straight into it, because you already have something that, you know, you can come away with. If you want that raw damage, because it's a lot of damage, then you're not going to do much better than Strago at this point in time. And the other thing that's nice about him is that he's a non-elemental magic damage dealer, which is actually less common than you might think. And he'll complement like characters like Noctis and Arden quite nicely as a damage dealer, because Noctis is ranged, Arden is melee, and then you've got like the trifecta complete by having magic in Strago. So you could look at it that way. I think that there is a very common misconception that Relm is the prize of the banner. I don't ever really use that terminology because I think that everyone's ideas of prizes on a banner are going to be different. But Relm is a character that you could, if you wanted to, snag her EX with EX tokens and then just leave. And then that way you're just able to save resources for ages and then not have to worry about Strago at all. Don't worry about pulling. There's a good like 100 tickets there. There's a buttload of gems. You could be saving for Kuja. You could be saving for Lightning. There's loads of places that you could put those resources in differently. And while I think that Strago is really powerful and he has a lot of damage in him, he is still just a damage dealer. He's not going to bring any super quirky mechanics. He's not got delays for days or anything like that. Like, you know, he's not got anything coming out in the near future that we know about, although I imagine his Lost Chapter will be fairly soon on the horizon in JP, so who knows, maybe his LD boards will be really powerful again and then we'll see more from Strago. I think he has a fairly nice future ahead of him. Relm is great in the short term, whereas Strago is going to be better for you in the long term. So I actually think that this banner is actually pretty good. It's certainly better than Emperor's banner if you're looking for Kefka's Burst, because Emperor, as much as I got lucky on it, there was Furion and Gilgamesh, and let's face it, they're not doing anything special. So honestly, I think this banner is very undervalued, and I am guilty of having done that myself in the past, but having had a proper look at it and really sort of put the time in to look into what Strago does, I actually don't think that people who pull for him will be disappointed at all. So now it's time for Would You Pull, the section of the video where you, the viewer, can get your voice heard and tell me whether you guys plan to pull on a particular banner or not. Now with Strago's banner, it seems like more people are planning on pulling on this banner in one way or another than not. We have 43% of people or the patrons that I've asked, that have said that yes, they're going to use tickets, which is probably what my plan is going to be. We have 30% of people who said no, they're not going to pull on this banner at all. And then we have 27% of people who said yes, they're going to use gems on this banner, which I honestly was surprised to see quite so many people say they were going to pull on this, considering quite what the consensus on Strago was to begin with. Surprising even more so that people are saying that they're going to use gems to do so. So I was saying Bourne says gems all the way. Strago has absurdly high damage, fantastic utility in auto break and re-break capabilities, which are extremely handy for the very challenging content to come with the arrival of Lufenia. Having used him in JP, I can say I was not disappointed in the investment. Also, his animations are really cool. That's also quite a true thing. His animations are actually very cool. If you haven't looked up his showcase or anything like that on YouTube, I suggest you do so, because they're very pretty attacks. But yeah, I think that, like, having spoken to some of these JP players, it does seem like Strago has quite a long shelf life when it comes to having a kit from now, and he still hasn't had his LD boards in Japan as of yet. ABC says, not pulling. I've only got 115 for Relm, and I'd rather pull on 8, who is a different damage dealer, and I only need the LD, rather than to have to pull for 2 full kits. So this does also make sense to some extent, because obviously while Strago is considered very powerful, he is a character that's brand new, which means you have to get his 15, his 35, his EX, and his LD. And then if Relm, you might already have a 15 or a 35, you may not. If you don't have any of that, that's another full kit's worth that you'd have to get hold of. And that can be pretty daunting. So saving your resources for a character that you don't need quite as much for can be quite prudent. Pale Raider says tickets for Strago, a unit reminiscent of arithmeticians from Final Fantasy Tactics, which is very, very cool. Strago is both unique and will remain relevant for a good while. I've heard he's still used in JP to this day, which isn't bad for an old man. Sadly, he's a precursor to some of the most coveted units in the coming months. If he weren't, I'd probably spare some gems. Fingers crossed for a good free pull. Again, we are going to be seeing another free pull for this. This is the last free pull we're going to get for this month, so I hope that everyone gets lucky on that particular front. It's going to be looking pretty solid, but also it's just a case of, well, there are a lot of characters that are coming in the near future that a lot of people want, so where are people going to get all that stuff from in order to pull for them? And then finally, Aurelia says, Strago seems good, but I have to pass. Already have Realms EX and a fully built Emperor and Kefka for the challenge quest. I even have Ashes EX, so I'm saving for the future. Again, this comes back to these characters that people are saving for, so whether it be Lightning, or Cloud, or Kuja, or Gladio, or Kurasame, there's a lot of very sought after characters coming out in the near future. So that's it's a pretty broad spectrum when it comes to what people think of this banner. And if you would like your voice to be heard on any future would you pull sections on my videos, then definitely check out the Patreon link in the description box below, because would love to see you guys and converse with you and talk to you guys about the banners as they come out, and it's great to see you guys' opinions as well as my own. So that's going to be it for today's videos. Like I said at the beginning, there are some things that have changed about the channel, but the core values of everything have very much stayed the same, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below whether you plan to pull for Strago or Relm, use your EX tokens to grab Relm and then skedaddle, or tell me what your plans are for the coming weeks. Like I said, don't forget to check out my Twitch channel tomorrow, where I'll be getting everybody together to do some chatting on on future pulls, on banners for the next God knows how many months, so it'd be great to kind of see you guys there as well. I shall definitely make a post and let you know when that's going to be happening. And then that's going to be it from me. Do excuse me if I take a little while to transition everything over into my new look, where you can see that I've got my new logos and stuff in the corner, but it's going to take a little while to get everything done. So that's going to be it from me for today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click that bell for the new notifications on any new videos that I might be making. Thanks again everybody, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.